Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey here, once again with another video on Arrow Season 5, and this is actually my trailer breakdown for episode 23, otherwise known as the Season 5 finale. So this is otherwise entitled Lian Yu. Pretty simple, it's the name of the island Oliver was stuck on for 5 years, or, you know, roughly 5 years. But before we get into anything else, let's actually watch the trailer.
What brought you back to the island?
I need your help.
Like old times. Don't worry, Oliver, get us out of this.
You know what I'm up against here. Hello, Oliver. If you want to get your son back, you know what you have to do. I have no interest in this being a fair fight.
So even though I'm pretty sure like around 90 to 95% of us knew like who would be returning for the last 2 episodes, like specifically the finale of Arrow Season 5, it was still amazing to see the return of Black Siren, Nyssa Al Ghul, Malcolm Merlyn, and finally Slade Wilson aka Deathstroke in yesterday's episode. This finale episode for Arrow Season 5 is going to be incredibly special, and because of that, I think I am going to do something special for everyone that enjoys watching my Arrow videos. Now, if you want me to do a reaction video, yes, a reaction to the finale of Season 5 of Arrow, please leave a like on the video as well as a comment in the comment section down below telling me whether you want me to do it or, you know, anything like that. I will only do it if like a decent amount of you guys want it, because I'm not going to do it if like there's like some tension, like some contention between like, oh no, don't do it, Paige, I don't like reactions. If there's a lot of that, then I won't do it. But the reason I am all for doing this reaction is because it's really not my type of thing, but I'm going to do it due to this episode of Arrow really being like the end of a chapter and all of that. Like this is going to be like sort of the end of a chapter, and then Season 6 will be something sort of different. So yeah, as I said, just leave a like and a comment if you want to see that, and I will have a review at the end of that reaction if I do it. So it'll be like a reaction / review if you know what I mean. But anyway, a synopsis or description for this episode was released, as there usually is. It's pretty lengthy, but it doesn't really give away too much that we don't already know, but I'll go through it anyway. The battle between Oliver and Adrian Chase culminates in a final epic battle on Lian Yu. After recent events, Oliver decides to recruit a group of unlikely allies, Slade, Nyssa, Merlyn, and Digger Harkness, to defeat Chase. However, Chase has his own army, Black Siren, Evelyn Sharp, and Talia Al Ghul, and the forces collide in an explosive season finale. So the trailer starts off with us seeing Slade Wilson in his cell on Lian Yu's prison thing, just like we saw at the conclusion of last episode when Oliver arrived back there along with Nyssa Al Ghul and Malcolm Merlyn. One thing that comes across as pretty damn interesting, to me at least, is the way that Slade speaks and looks at Oliver as he says, "What brought you back to the island?" With Oliver following up by saying, "I need your help," which is then followed by and finished off by Slade saying, "like old times," while looking down upon his Deathstroke mask. The way in which Slade says these lines and looks at Oliver is almost as if he like understands whatever Oliver is facing must be bad for him to deal with the island again due to the memories of it, all of which aren't necessarily the greatest. Slade is really like the only living person who knows what Oliver went through, apart from maybe Sarah, but Slade was with Oliver on the island for longer than Sarah was. So I think that will be a reason behind why Slade is willing to help Oliver in this final battle against Prometheus. I do feel Oliver will have some other persuasions to offer Slade, however, something like an early release or something. Slade could also be cured of any of like the after effects since being cured of Mirakuru, so he could be a much more reasonable person and not as violent, which could lead Oliver to like showing Slade some goodwill, if you want to call it that, and let him free. Like, I know he was cured of Mirakuru at the end of Season 2, but that part we saw him in Season 3, he'd still have some like after effects of it, like maybe like the anger and stuff like that. So maybe by this time in Season 5, it's sort of all gone, and we've got the Slade Wilson that was in Season 1 or 2 in the flashbacks, or, you know, Season 1 before he was injured and they had to inject him with Mirakuru. One person to cover that we didn't see at all in the trailer or at the end of last episode is Digger Harkness, aka Captain Boomerang. He is in this episode as detailed in the synopsis, and we also know there are some photos from set with him in them. The lack of footage of him has led many to believe that he will die in this episode, which could be the case. I will go over the deaths in this episode in more detail at the end of the video though, but I just think they wanted to focus the trailer more on like Slade and Prometheus to get people watching. It should be good to see Captain Boomerang back, saying that we really only had him in one episode, if you really don't include that like end credit scene from whatever episode it was in season 3 of Arrow. I think it was episode 7. If you don't include that, he's been in one episode, which was the Arrow episode of the first crossover between The Flash and Arrow. So yeah, he hasn't been in the show much. The next part in the trailer that I feel is necessary to chuck a spotlight on and talk about is actually this quick part between Oliver and Thea. You do hear Oliver say, "You know what I'm up against here." Now, what I think is going down here is that Thea is learning about her brother, Oliver, obviously, teaming up with Slade Wilson, aka Deathstroke, who all of you should remember killed their mother, Moira, right in front of them in a pretty brutal damn way. So obviously Thea isn't going to be 100% okay with this team up, but I think she will eventually realize it needs to happen for Prometheus to be taken down and for everyone else to be safe. Mainly Oliver's son, William, of course, which is obviously, Thea's nephew. Now, we usually don't see flashback moments that often in trailers, like maybe like one every 5 trailers or something for the episodes. We might see a quick thing from the flashbacks, but seeing this episode will be wrapping up the whole flashback storyline from when Oliver Queen was shipwrecked to when he was finally returned to Starling City. It would seem a bit odd if there wasn't any footage of the flashbacks in the trailer. But anyway, what we see from the trailer in regards to the flashbacks seems to be like a booby trap set up by Oliver to take out Kovar's men. This one looks pretty damn brutal and intense. This dude has like 110% been impaled by this weapon. If I had to narrow this down to something and like relate it to something, it would almost be like Home Alone, Lost in Lian Yu, because that's what it basically is, because Oliver knows the island much better than Konstantin Kovar and his men would. So he'd just be setting up traps left, right and center and taking them out. So this could actually be pretty funny to see and pretty cool. And to finish off the trailer, we have a full-on battle royale playing out between Team Oliver and Team Prometheus. At this stage in the episode, it does look like everyone we saw on the island will be quote-unquote safe, from everyone that was taken, and we saw them lined up at the end of last episode. But it will be William, obviously Oliver's son, who is in the most danger. The fights we will probably be seeing take place are Nyssa versus Talia, because it's the Al Ghul sisters. They're of course going to fight. Oliver versus Prometheus, because that's the most obvious one to predict. And then Black Siren versus Dinah, because they're the two characters with the Canary cries, or the Sonic cries, whatever you want to call them. We actually do see Black Siren and Dinah having a go at each other, and their Sonic cries like connect and then they get blasted away. So that should be pretty interesting to see. Black Siren's going to be an interesting character to see in this episode, whether she takes that turn to the good in this episode, or they just, leave on a bit of a what if situation, sort of like a cliffhanger, which I'll get into in a second in regards to cliffhangers. And then they follow her on in season 6. Because if you didn't know, she's going to be like a season regular in season 6. And they're probably going to do a redemption arc with her there. But we'll have to see if they like set it up properly at the end of this episode or some point in this finale. We also see Deathstroke taking on some of Talia's acolytes. But we also don't see Boomerang or Artemis or Merlin. So I think Artemis is definitely going to die in this episode. As I said in my review yesterday, Malcolm Merlin is not meant to be in any of the shows next season, so he could die. In regards to Captain Boomerang, they might kill him off just because of his involvement in the DCEU, but I don't know, for them just to randomly bring him back, maybe they just want to like end the character, but we'll have to wait and see. Now obviously I just sort of did allude to deaths in regards to Artemis, Merlin and possibly Boomerang dying, but that's a big question, who will die, because the producers and the showrunners and I think even like some of the actors on the show did say there will be death in the finale. Now obviously this brings up the question, who will die? They did say, well, they didn't really confirm it, but they did really heavily hint at it, that there will be like a Walking Dead style finale. I have mentioned this in 1 or 2 videos since they really said this, which was maybe like a month or 2 ago. And a Walking Dead style finale is that like something happens at the end of the season, someone's died, you just don't know who has died. So they basically set it up that someone's died, like there's a blood or someone gets shot in the head or something, or there's a sword swipe and there's blood on it, something along those lines. But you just don't see who copped that weapon or that punishment or something like that. So they did say that would happen this season. I think that might only be with one character. It won't be with like multiple ones. We will see people die. Characters like Artemis or Merlin or something, we will actually see them die. But there will be one character who does die. We just don't know who it is. And that's sort of meant to be something that goes over the season break until season 6. And then it gets revealed and we're like, oh crap, what happened there? So expect that. Leave who you think will die in the comment section down below as well, because I'm interested to see what everyone has to say. I think Artemis is the most obvious one because they really cannot do anything else with the character there. I guess Prometheus is a top choice as well. And then I guess you could chuck Malcolm Merlin and Captain Boomerang in here as well. I really highly doubt they would have the balls to even like hint at Deathstroke dying, just because a lot of people haven't liked the way the character's been treated ever since the end of season 2 when he was done for. So I think if they just killed him in this episode, I don't think Manu Bennett would have agreed to come back to the show to play him if he knew the character was going to die. I don't think he would have accepted the role and come back. So I think Deathstroke's safe. But let me know who you think will die in the comment section down below. And as I sort of hinted at before, cliffhangers. The death thing will be a cliffhanger. I think that's obviously going to be one of the cliffhangers. Like someone will die. It's like a Walking Dead style finale. But they could do some other cliffhangers. One of which could be Black Siren. Like you maybe see like a change of heart with her in the last 5 minutes of the episode, and it's left on a cliffhanger. Like, oh, okay, is she going to go down the road of good, or is she going to stay bad? And they could also do something with the villain. Maybe they might introduce the season 6 villain, or a massive hint at it at the end of this season, sort of like what they did in season 3 right at the end. Was it in the finale when they didn't introduce Damien Dark, they just introduced the name of Damien Dark. So they could do something like that, but we'll have to wait and see. I think they said there's going to be cliffhangers, I just don't know if they've confirmed it, because it's weird to confirm a cliffhanger because then everyone's expecting it. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's that, as I said, that Walking Dead style finale where someone dies, we just don't know who it is, along with some other cliffhangers, just to give season 6 like some momentum going into it, so it's not really starting off on a dead start like the previous seasons of Arrow have. But thanks for watching, guys. As I said, if you do want to see a reaction video for the finale, I don't know if that's going to be a popular thing, if everyone actually wants to see that happen, but if you do, be sure to leave a like on it. Let me know in the comment section down below, as I said, if you want that, as well as anything I've said in this video, like who do you think is going to die, will there be cliffhangers, all of that. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. I'll catch you later, guys, and goodbye.